Suddenly you're on a plane to Vegas with a hooker. Extremes, contrasts, opposites. She loves me not. For centuries, the book world has been divided into fiction and nonfiction. I'd like to propose a third category: friction. And boy, am I the guy for that job. You see, to the cranky nitpickers of America, a club I'd join in a second if I weren't already its president, it's long been understood that the world is going to hell in a handbasket, concerning which there are three things to remember. First, every generation in history has said the same thing since, forever. Second, what in the world is a handbasket anyway? Is it significant that it rhymes with a tisket a tasket? And why is hopping one to hell any worse than getting there the old-fashioned way? I mean, at that point, I wouldn't think it mattered. Does anyone arrive in the infernal regions and buttonhole Satan on the subject? Now look, bub, I'm sure this is all going to get pretty unpleasant and probably stay that way longer than I'd like. I'm also guessing you don't have a very active complaint department down here. Yes, I see that poker you're hiding, and I'll bet I know where it's going. But before we start this wingding, there's something I need to get off my chest. That trip over here in the handbasket was no day at the beach, let me tell you. Here, look at that. See those mesh marks? They're probably going to scar. We're like peaches in my family. And while we're on the subject, a Lubriderm concession at the gift shop wouldn't go amiss either. Anything with aloe. Well, I'm an idea man. Say, isn't that Stalin? Third, and most important, every other generation in history was wrong. Ours really is going to hell, handbasket and all. Luckily, the boatman on that gondola is as feckless as we are, and we're not there yet. Soon, though. Soon enough. The world is about to see A, 1,000 years of horror, B, a giant battle of good and evil, or C, a lot more of the same. What better time for a collection of comic essays? In any event, here they are. That's the goal of this book, and that's what it's about. To be funny. I think it is, and I hope you do too. Which, come to think of it, must make me an optimist. She loves me not. She loves me. What other way is there to live? Yours in comedy, Larry Miller. Chapter 1. Royal Flush. My wife just got a new dishwasher for us. She didn't tell me, she just got it. I discovered this the other day when I came home from work and saw it being installed, but it was difficult to learn any more just then, since she was in the living room with her friend Ilana, planning a party at our house that weekend for 27 or so Little League parents. I didn't know about this either. "Oh, you'll love it," she said with a wink and a wave of her hand, and turned back to Ilana, who was animatedly saying something like, "I think the pasta station should go in the playroom." And I remember thinking, there may be some things I disagree with about Arab society, but on the whole, you've got to admire the way they treat their women. The thing about the new dishwasher was I'd just gotten used to loading the old one. "It wasn't cleaning well anymore," she said after Ilana left. "Yes, it was," I said. "No, it wasn't," she said. We could have batted this shuttlecock back and forth for a few more hours, easy, but ultimately it would have led me to turning curt and saying, "How would you know?" Another night sleeping with one eye open. Instead, I looked down at the shiny new appliance and muttered, "But I just figured the old one out." My eagle eye and spaniel nose tell me that the principles of correct dishwasher use are one of those tiny but huge subjects debated by all households, and in this case, I mean everyone. Man, woman, gay, straight, American, Norwegian, put any two adults together in a house, and they'll very quickly develop different and fiercely rigid views of how best to load the dishwasher. You could pair an English supermodel with a Cambodian rice farmer, or two Sherpas who grew up on the side of Mount Everest and never even heard of electricity. And within 4 days you'd hear one telling the other, "No, idiot, the salad plates go behind the cereal bowls." Sounds like a new reality show, doesn't it? She only speaks Hungarian, and he's never even seen a rocks glass. But watch the sparks fly when it's time to clear the table. That one's probably in development at NBC. I consider myself a dishwasher virtuoso, even with my one great flaw, to wit, I rinse. I know you don't need to rinse before you load, but I do. Even toast crumbs. I just have to. Still, I think I save more water than any reasonably sane American. I never leave the faucet running while I'm scrubbing a pan, and only turn it on again when it's time to rinse, and then still only halfway. I listen like a hawk, or just a maniac, when the kids go to brush their teeth, and run shouting down the hall the second I sense they've got the water on too high, or too long, or that they're spraying each other, or, worst of all for a parent, that they're just giggling and enjoying life too much. When it's time for me to shower, I'm like a Marine boot being monitored by Lee Ermey with a stopwatch. Even when I'm a little fuzzy-headed in the morning, I allow myself just a brief cascade down the head and neck, unless, of course, someone's in there with me. Oh, stop your cackling. This does so happen to me, though not every day, and almost always in a fancy hotel for one of those mommy and daddy nights away. In fact, I used to shower with the kids, too, when they were little. At least until my sister told me not to. This was when they were 2 and 5, and after 2 and 5 years, respectively, spent getting an achy back and soaked shoes while leaning in to wash their hair, one evening at bath time, the clouds parted, the angels sang, and I climbed in with them. Well, I thought I had invented the wheel. It was so easy, I was staggered by the brilliance of the thing. Each shower at that age only takes 15 or 20 seconds anyway. I don't know about you, but I just wash their hands and faces, lather up their hair, and let the residual shampoo do the rest on its way toward the drain. So we'd all get in together, and zing, clop, boom, we were done. Beautiful. Hell, that's still far more scrubbing than any 50 people north of the Pyrenees get in a year. I was so thrilled with my brainstorm that one night I was talking to my sister back east and told her about it, and she said, "Are you wearing anything?" And I said, "What kind of a question is that?" And she said, "Not now, idiot, when you're in the shower with them." And I said, "Do I wear anything in the shower? What are you talking about? It's a shower." And she said, "Not if you're in there with them. They're naked, right? What about you? I hope you at least have gym shorts on." And I said, "Gym shorts? Cheryl, it's a shower. Just a few seconds and we're done." And she said, "Larry, you're in there naked with them?" And I said, "Well, technically, yes, for a few seconds." "Well, you shouldn't be. Ever." This was a new one on me. I told my wife about it with a chuckle when she got home, and she put down the mail and said, "Oh, I'm so mad at your sister." "Why?" I asked. "Because there's nothing wrong with it, but you're so stupid, now you'll probably never do it again." And I said, chuckling again, but still a little annoyed at being called stupid, "Honey, please, I agree. There's nothing wrong with it. It makes the whole bath time thing easier. I'm glad I came up with it." But I never did it again. This is a big part of my relationship with my sister. We love each other, but she's very fact and survey-based, and most of the time I don't even know what year it is. She must have read somewhere in the latest issue of American Paranoia that little kids shouldn't be subjected to the sight of their big, hairy fathers in the shower. Hey, she wasn't the one who went with my dad to the public steam baths twice a week, a place filled with naked old men who'd never been told that towels could be used for more than drying. And it never hurt me any, although to this day I can't eat plums. She had a million of them. "Do you leave your coffee maker plugged in at night?" she asked me a few months later. "Sure," I said, "but only when I take it in the shower with me." She just kept talking as if I hadn't said anything, which, in a sense, I hadn't. Well, I just read where coffee makers sometimes explode for no reason at all and set the house on fire. You should always unplug it. Later that night, I passed the coffee maker as I was turning off lights on my way to bed. I shook my head and moved on, but then, halfway down the hall, I stopped, groaned, winced, sighed, and muttered, "Oh, come on." Finally, resigned and slumped, I turned around and walked back to the kitchen to unplug it. Naturally, I've unplugged it every night since. Every other appliance in the place, toaster, grinder, phone charger, lamps, fans, computers, printers, fax, answering machine, everything, all remain pronged to their sockets of death. But that coffee maker will never bring us down. If my sister ever calls with news about how whiskey is distilled, I'm going to hang up in her face. There's